This track hasn't been driven in 60 years, and our mission is to open it up.
We're going to have to winch, we're going to have to make our own track. We don't know what's beyond this point.
That's the track, I think.
No, I don't reckon too many people have actually seen this. It's faint, but there is a sign.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yes! Come on! Woo-hoo!
Hasn't stopped raining for days. It's ultra sketchy. Like a slot car at the moment, and I'm just sliding down.
It gets very, very exciting when you're trying to pick your own track.
Actually just sort of lost the track.
I don't know what we're going to do, boys. I don't know.
When it comes to the ultimate in four-wheel drive adventure, it doesn't get wilder than the far north of Queensland after a massive wet. It's early season in Cape York, and we're at the start of a huge 3-week mission, attempting to push all the way from Cairns to the northernmost point of Australia. But with some of the worst conditions we've seen in years. Whether we'll make it, well, it's anyone's guess.
Well, without a doubt, this is going to be one of the more picturesque ways to go and visit Cape York. To start off from Cairns and go via the Daintree, and that's exactly what we're doing very, very early in the season. I mean, get a load of all this water in it. It hasn't stopped raining for days. It's a very unprecedented late wet. When we're in Cairns, stocking up, ready for this trip, a lot of the locals simply just laughed at us when we told them our plans were going to Cape York, and that's because at the moment you can't get through the Archer because it's about 1.5 meters over the road. So something tells me that this is going to be one of those adventures. If we even get to Cape York, it's going to be a very, very memorable trip, because with this much water around, it's going to be super tough going.
While the route north is still touch and go, it's given us the perfect opportunity to tackle one of the crazier things you can do on a four-wheel drive. An old friend of mine has heard we're on our way up and asked if we could help him try and reopen an old stock route from the back of his property in the Daintree, which hasn't been driven in over 60 years. It's the perfect way to start our adventure, and as a bonus, if we can make it through, we'll end up at one of Cape York's most iconic pubs. With a bunch of great mates along for the ride, this is going to be an adventure to remember. Our first challenge is just to make it up to my mate's property. PJ lives smack bang in the middle of the Daintree and actually helps four-wheel drivers who get into trouble along the challenging Creb track. His place is high up on the hilltop above all the rainforest, and to get there, you've got to tackle the mother of all driveways, a climb so gnarly that PJ literally puts snow chains on his rig to make it up when it's wet. And right on cue, it started raining.
Well, it's pouring down rain, and this is only the start of the track, and Sean tells us this is normally the easy bit, and it's turned hard. So we're in for a long slow up this hill. Let's see how he goes.
Up we go. Here's a race truck, boys. High gear straight away, don't muck around.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I've got to try and take off.
I'm not going to make it look that easy.
Jesse's behind the wheel of the mighty D-Max for this trip, and the technique he's using on this hill is momentum.
Far out, Brussels sprout. Wow.
Those higher D-Maxes go all right, don't they? What happened, Jess?
I got up the top, that's what happened.
Far out, mate. We've got to try and preserve the vehicle.
Oh,
We're
listen to
about
it.
1/62th of the way through this track. Well, there's a nice big run up there, mate. Try and be in maybe something under about 5th gear for this one.
Next up is our good mate Az from Mitts Alloy, who's frothing to be back behind the wheel of this weapon of a 79 series.
Just going to keep this nice and controlled if I can.
No front locker either, he's fully showing off.
Oh, there we go.
He just made that.
Yes!
A good line with the right amount of throttle. Heck, you could teach Jesse a thing or two.
Mate, I'm here all week if you need a few tips.
Robbie's stoked to be joining us for his first ever time driving up to Cape York in a Smick touring rig he and the boys built up at the Oz Off-Road workshop.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Just, oh, yeah.
Go, mate. That was a very impressive drive, mate. Well done.
Pete and his 3-litre GU need no introduction, and the big rig is already pigeon-cooing its way up like a champion.
Oh, it's getting slippier. Very nice.
Now, I wasn't joking when I said this driveway gets tougher as you go, and soon enough, everyone is struggling.
Well, I don't know what's happened either, mate.
That's so lucky it stopped there.
Yeah, you don't want to keep going that way, that's for sure. That's it. Little bit of drive. Little bit of drive. There you go. Look at that. You can see where he's just come over. Looks like he was trying to take a shortcut, but in reality, he was trying to get up here, but the front's just bounced over. You got to be super careful in this stuff. And the best bit is, we haven't got the hard bit yet.
Rob is on the move again, but conditions are just getting more challenging.
It's a long old hill, this one.
I think I'm going to have to just jump into it and hope for the best.
Just hold it flat.
All right, second
my
and
friend.
then third. Windscreen wipers on. Let's go.
Good luck.
Up we go. Oh. Bugger.
Well, he was going really, really good until he wasn't.
I backed off because it was a bit of a whoopie.
Yeah, then we saw you change gears and adjust. It was so close.
Second might be the gear, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, now. That was another gear, and I reckon you'd be right.
All right, one more.
Wow!
Holy heck! Got to give it the everything.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do that.
Oh, I missed the gear. I got so excited.
Well, that, folks, was giving Sooty the absolute everything. I should never drive it like that. That was third gear and absolutely pinned, and I was literally bouncing that thing off the limiter. That was just an insane drive, but I had nothing else. I didn't want to go back because you'd slide all the way to the bottom. I'm still not out of the woods yet. I sort of wrecked the gear change. I got so excited to try and go down the gear, but that rain is going to make it real hard for anyone.
I don't think you could have driven any harder. I got my work cut out for me up here, I reckon.
Next, mate. Good luck.
Look, I think you can do it. You don't want to really back off, but you've got this big washout in the middle, which you sort of want to hit at the right angle, or else you're going to be airborne. So, good luck, mate.
I'll try my best to try and get up without breaking anything. Wow, this is wild. Not what I would want to do in big brand new D-Max.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, we want back it off. Go, go, go. Yes! Come on, yes! Go, go, go! Woo-hoo! Yeah!
Go for it, mate. He's off. There's mud flying. He ain't holding back. And that's the ticket of this hill. Do not hold back. He's still laughing in there. It's mud flying everywhere. You just got to commit.
Well, I know what they're talking about now. This thing.
The 79 is a big tall rig, and Az looks like he's puckering a bit as he takes on the steep slope.
There we go.
Oh.
Yes.
Well done, mate.
Yes.
Mate, this thing is an animal.
We're not out of the woods yet. No more vehicles to come through. It's just so slippery. It's getting slipperier by the vehicle too. I think the big takeaway is don't stop halfway up the hill.
Rob's taken that advice to heart and absolutely storms up the next section.
Whoa. Wheeling it. Oh, jumping it. Oh. Oh, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah. Oh, he's in the bank, he's in the bank.
You got this. Here we go. You're not there yet.
Whoa. He roosted me.
copped a little bit of mud in the face. But
Got the bit on the jacket. But,
I lied for a second. I thought he wasn't going to make that,
Yeah.
but just had
got
enough.
it.
Just had
Yeah.
enough. Pete's up next, and I reckon we've saved the best to last. You can hear him. It's not often you hear a 3 litre. You know, I was thinking to myself, the only bloke that doesn't have a rain jacket, who needs it this time of year, Cape York, as if it's going to rain? It's not the wet season. Turns out it is.
It's hard to believe that this track is leading to a house, but PJ has radioed down and told us there's a fire and a pizza waiting if we can make it up. The camera crew have had to down tools to get their own rig up, and before you know it, night has fallen, and we're still on the track. But just when we thought we might be out of trouble, the camera car has done a bead.
Are you serious? Good spot for it too, look at it.
This would be a really awkward spot to be changing a tyre. But luckily, a more simple solution presents itself.
Now I've got no eyebrows, but it was worth it. We're off. We're ready, boys.
The tyre might be back on, but now the GU is too bogged to move, and suddenly we've got a huge recovery ahead of us.
I'm wet to the bone. I don't know what we're going to do, boys. I don't know.
After a few more hours on the tools, we've finally got the camera car out of trouble. Tired and soaked through, we've made it to PJ's little oasis on the hilltop, where sure enough, a hot meal and a roaring fire is waiting. It's been a pretty hectic introduction to the conditions we can expect, but PJ reckons what's up ahead is going to make today seem like an absolute walk in the park.
If you're looking to give your pride and joy a bit of a birthday before the end of financial year, our mates over at TrueFit have 15% off everything on their website. So I'm talking about floor mats, I'm talking about vinyl interiors like I've got here in Sooty, carpet interiors, even under bonnet protectors and insulators. So do yourself a favour, jump on the website. When you get to the old checkout, make sure you use the promo code end of financial year 15, so EOFY15. Chuck that in the promo code, then you'll get your 15% off. So do yourself a favour, jump on right now so you don't miss out.
In the morning light, we can see PJ's place properly for the first time, and it's nothing short of spectacular. PJ lives here almost entirely off-grid, and for 4 months of the time, this place becomes an island, with the wet season making tracks north and south totally impassable, cutting him off from the rest of the world. And that's just one of the reasons we're out here, to help him try and reopen an alternative route to his block. PJ and Nassar are going to help us out for this mission in his old cruiser. If you're wondering what those bins are on the back of PJ's rig, they're actually a custom Cape York spec touring solution. Now I reckon that's pretty clever thinking right there. And a sign of what might be ahead of us, sure enough, the snow chains are coming out. To get to the start of the track, we're actually going to have to backtrack down PJ's driveway. But before we take off, we're getting a preview of the kind of track conditions we can expect over the next few days. Hidden away in the rainforest behind PJ's shack are the remains of an old gold mining operation, which has pretty much been reclaimed by the dense jungle.
So one of the things you'll notice about Cape York, if you're looking at any of the history around here, is there's a huge gold mining history that extends way back in the 1800s, and the Daintree is no different. The PJ's just showed us this. There's an old mine just up here, an old stamp machine. This is a 6-wheel drive Studebaker, so an old truck that's sort of ended up here in this creek. One thing you'll notice though, obviously you walk down here, it's hard enough to walk here, let alone drive a vehicle down. You can imagine trucks driving up and down through here. There's chains actually on these tyres permanently. PJ was saying they welded D-shackles to the rim to run chains. That's just how, you know, you used to get that red clay, it's just so slippery. And these trucks would just take in huge amounts of clay and all the rest of it around this place. Pretty amazing to see. There's apparently an excavator down here somewhere. The bucket's just there, so it's pretty cool exploring through here. No, I don't reckon too many people have actually seen this.
Big show up here, you know, not like huge, but there was, 20, 30 people in the area here, living around here working. This one, about the 80s, I think, was last left here, so they were mining pulling the gold out of the banks and stuff and looking for it that way, you know. They had a cage over it and the tree fell on the bloke working on it.
Oh, true.
Cut the cage off and kept going.
Yeah.
Cage is down the creek down there further.
Yeah. OH&S, never heard of her.
No, It's still here and it'll be here for a long time yet, so.
Pretty wild to think, eh?
Yeah.
Been hard work trying to get the gold out of these hills.
We can see clearly now just how difficult the terrain around here is going to be to navigate. And this early in the season, there's going to be a whole lot of deep water to get through as well.
Well, for the people that have been following our show for a long time now, what's it been, PJ? Been
Been a while, I don't know.
6-7 years or something like that?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Since last time.
Yeah.
We're up here, we caught up with PJ and we tried to basically follow an old stock route and try and reopen that track up. And we're just chatting around the fire before and PJ's got some plans. There's another track that is a bit overgrown, you say?
Yeah, a little bit overgrown. Has been driven for a long time that I've been playing around with. So yeah, just out the back here. So we'll see how we go with that. Have a play around. A bit rougher than the last one, but
a bit rougher than the last one because the last time we came in and it was really overgrown. No one had driven it in years. This time around, we're very early in the season. As you know, there's been a lot of water around. So what do you think the conditions are going to be like?
Unknown, but probably a mess. After the rain we've had decent wet season this year, so
pretty tough. What do you reckon? Trees over the track?
Yeah, there'll always be trees. There'll be washouts. There'll be, you know, the track will be overgrown. Grass would have just gone crazy.
But certainly got a work cut out for us to try and open up an old stock route. I'm pretty excited. The boys, what do you reckon? Yeah, it'll be good stuff. Let's go.
Bit of work involved. So
I reckon so. A K a day is a pretty good rate around here.
Pretty soon we're ready to make a move, and our first challenge is just to make it down this hill. It's not often that you find yourself struggling to go down a hill, but this clay is just insanely slippery, with huge drop-offs over the side if you get it wrong.
Now, one motion.
Well, I'm glad the sun's come out now. It's getting a little bit tacky, but I would have hated to come down here last time when it was raining. It's scary enough now.
Oh, coming down here, you literally have no control.
The thing is, if you commit and get it wrong, you're committing over the edge.
Bloody hell, that is super sketchy coming down there.
It doesn't feel nice. Scary with a capital S.
It only takes a moment for things to go pear-shaped, and that's exactly what's happened to Pete, who soon found himself way off the track.
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. Talking about the slippery track. This is the track down here. Pete slips straight off and big old sort of cliff edge down there, so you want to get it right. He's also on a stump as well, so he can't go backwards or forwards at the moment.
Pete is so hung up that the only option is to winch him down the hill. Now, that's not something you see every day.
Yeah, nice.
That's how that's done.
This is so slippery going down. It's ultra sketchy. Tyres are just clogged in mud, not spinning, and I'm just sliding down like a slot car at the moment.
There's not a lot of talking as we take on the main section of this slope. That's because everyone is hanging onto the wheel for dear life.
Oh, let me out.
Those snow chains are looking like a pretty worthwhile investment right now, and PJ's descent is by far the most controlled. Soon we're at the start of the old stock route that PJ wants to reopen. The track is about 80 k's in total, but PJ's done a fair bit of work already. The problem is an 8-kilometre section further in. Now, 8 k's doesn't really sound like much, but it traverses several deep rivers, some huge climbs, and of course thick, thick forest. Whether this is even possible is anyone's guess. Now, if you're wondering what is a stock route, well, it's basically a public access road across private land. But of course, just because it's public doesn't mean it's maintained, and there's a number of secret tracks just like this that have fallen into total disrepair. This is one that hasn't had a vehicle push through in over 60 years. So far, we're tracking along the section that PJ has previously worked on, but soon we're heading into wilder, thicker country.
Well, this is some of the most amazing scenery. Just got up into this ridge and we can have a good look of the landscape. Now we're trying to get down this way and it looks like the bush sort of closes in a little bit up ahead, which I'm a little bit worried about because that is where the track sort of ends and we have to go off the grid and really start to follow our nose and find this old stock route because there's not going to be much signs of this track left. But for now, this is some of the most stunning scenery you'll ever see in the top end. Absolutely beautiful.
Soon we've made it down into the valley and we're greeted with our first river crossing. These rivers rise and fall by several metres every single year, and with every season comes more and more fallen timber. Tackling the crossings is one thing, but first we're going to actually make it there.
Well, this is where the track sort of begins. It gets fun. There's a whole stack of trees down. It gets really, really tight. So you can hear chainsaws in the background. Everyone's sharpening their saws, getting shovels ready. The dog's going crazy. It's all happening now. It's going to be single file and really tight through this rainforest country. We're actually going to cross this river 3 times. So we found a way that we can sort of do it, but there's trees down. We're going to have to winch. We're going to have to make our own tracks. So we don't know what's beyond this point. This is where it gets really, really fun.
The chainsaws are getting a real workout, and after a bit of work, we've opened up a clear path to the crossing. And that's just the first half of the job done.
Look at the fishos. They're supposed to love water in the back of the ute.
The big leaf springs, mate. Weapons.
Beautiful.
The hill on the other side is even more degraded, and there's no way we're getting up this side without a lot of clearing and track building. So it's out with the shovels, mattocks and pickaxes.
It's a lot going on, It's pretty exciting, you know, for a track that hasn't had a car for 60 years. Like, yeah, you don't get to do this that often. So, yeah, I feel really privileged to be here as a four-wheel driver.
This is quite a scene. All the boys are on the shovels, the picks, with a lot of wet seasons, probably precisely about 60 wet seasons. A lot of dirt's moved over, small shrubs and roots. We're just clearing this and making it a little bit wider so we can actually get a vehicle through here. We can see the track sort of goes up that way, and that's where we start. If it's going to be like this the whole way though, we might still be here at Christmas time. Everyone's working hard and getting it done, but as soon as we get up this hill, we'll get on top of that ridge maybe, and that might be easier going.
So what I do if I find gold, PJ? Just pocket it up.
60% more.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I like it.
It takes a few more hours, but at last this thing is starting to look like a track again.
Well, first vehicle's going to give this a go, and in my honest opinion, this is better than the Bruce Highway. It's got less potholes anyway, so PJ should be able to hopefully get up here. This is going to be the hard bit. If he gets up here,
off
smooth
camber,
sailing.
yeah.
It's off cam. It's going to lean in that tree a little bit, but hopefully the first vehicle might compact a bit of a couple of tyre tracks up here, and we should all be able to follow. I'm looking forward to this. This is true adventure.
Yeah, it is.
Righto, bring him up.
Now look, the locals do things a bit different around here, folks, but we really do suggest you always wear a seatbelt off-road.
Yeah. Oh, go for yeah! There it goes. Way to go! Good job, man. Good job.
PJ's made it close to the top, but the last pinch is just a bit too tight.
No, diff locks. I need diff locks, eh?
Yeah, a couple of lockers would have just walked up there.
Bloody good job, mate.
I thought I had it.
Legend.
That was an awesome effort. I did not think he was going to get that far. Good drive. Nice.
Very nice.
Here comes Shorto. Big tyres, lockers, bit of right foot. He might even get it. Further. Yeah. Oh, he's coming in. He's cruising it. Whoa!
Add that.
Yeah. I can still get it. Four-wheel safe over here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nah, that's on your door.
Those trees on the left are in a pretty annoying spot, but one of the rules of travelling on tracks like this is you can't cut any live trees, so we're going to have to rely on some clever winching to keep the panels straight. One small pull and I'm through safely.
Tell you what, that's not too bad at all. Actually, the noise of that was a lot worse than it really is. Hasn't even dented the door. Put a tiny little scratch in that Raptor coating, but you've got to be happy with that. Yeah, righto, Jesse. Track's a little bit wider now, mate, and probably a little bit more compact, I reckon. Give it a good go.
Right, I'll see what I can do, eh?
Jesse's gone for a different line here and almost sneaks past that tree.
You're gonna lose your awning.
I don't know what I made though. I didn't bloody stop.
All right, we'll get the rumber out. Oh, that was close.
Now, Az has probably got the biggest vehicle in the convoy, so this will be pretty tight.
Let's see if we can get through it. Don't want to dig it up too much for the rest of the boys.
That's it.
Yeah! Yeah! Yes! Whoa! Just missed the tree.
Be careful.
Yes! That was awesome. Oh, yeah, that's the canopy on the tree. What a drive!
That is a really good drive.
Straight up the tree. I think I caught my awning. Woo! How good's that?
Canopy came so close to a few trees then, but you know, he just kept on it and it just gripped and ate it.
Just enough to miss that route.
The cool thing is every vehicle that's coming through here is just digging a little bit more out and actually widening the track. It's becoming more and more of a road.
Yeah.
So I reckon the last couple of vehicles actually drive this quite easy.
It'll be a highway. Yeah! Go!
I reckon go back, have another go. Yeah, you'll get this. Bit more left. Bit more left.
Whoa!
Be careful.
hard left hand down. That was loose and it went back, eh?
I'd arc it right up and get the accelerator to respond as soon as possible. So I'm going to stick it up onto U9 and wish me luck. Here we go.
Yeah, we will not be holding back.
As we expected, Pete's compact rig just sails up.
Hey, there we go. Nice work, Pete.
And there we have it. A cool little climb.
As always, another great drive by Pete, and as more and more vehicles come through here, it starts to widen the track. It's a proper road now. This is what's so cool about it, and it's the first time this track has been driven in 60 years. Last time was a, Series 1 Cruiser?
Series 1 Land Rover.
Land Rover.
A Cruiser, was it a Land Cruiser?
You'll find an axle liner in somewhere.
No doubt. I can still smell the oil, mate. But it's so cool that we're driving this and opening this track up because Mother Nature does have a habit of claiming these tracks back again.
Hey Rob, got a copy back there, mate?
I do, Sean.
I've got to say, you're a bit of a quiet achiever down the back there. You and that Ranger, you seem to be just doing everything with ease and not making a big fuss about it. Did you build that Ranger up?
Yeah, we did. Me and the boys in the workshop. Yeah, a lot of hard work went into this one. You know, yeah, all the gear on it to do these sort of tracks and do them pretty easy.
You built that down at Oz Off-Road, did you?
Yeah, so all the suspension work, bar work, all the comms, fuel batteries and whatnot. Got all my camping gear before we came out here and yeah, been pretty happy with it.
Yeah, Rob, I've heard a lot about Oz Off-Road lately, mate. It's a bit of a one-stop shop, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Sean. So, you know, from the smallest things you could probably think of up to, full builds and everything in between. Yeah, do it all.
And what, you fit it all as well, because you've got a workshop down there?
So we've got the workshop full of mechanics, and everyone who works there, you know, they're all four-wheel drivers, come out and do this stuff every chance they get. So, really know what people want and sort of what they're going to need to sort of do this sort of travelling.
Yeah, ripper, mate. Well, trust me when I say this is a stack more challenges, mate, to test all your gear through. The track's getting a little tighter now, so I think we're going to be in for quite the show, mate.
As soon as we cross that creek, the track ahead has become a lot harder to follow. Like we mentioned before, we're going to have to recross this creek several times as it loops back and forth. But in between, the track is almost impossible to make out.
Sometimes it's pretty hard trying to pick the old track because it's very dense, obviously quite overgrown. The grass is quite high early in the season, and that tends to happen at this time of year. But if you look closely, you'll see it looks like animal tails, but there's one on each side. That's the side of the road. So that's actually one up here, and it cuts in between those two big trees. It doesn't look like much of a road, but that is actually the track. You go straight through there. You can hear the boys on the chainsaw. They're just taking all the dead logs and stuff out of the way. We'll end up driving the vehicles down through there. We're going to cross that creek somewhere down there. We haven't walked that far yet, so we don't even know if we can. This is just the excitement of it. It gets very, very exciting when you're trying to pick your own track.
With a lot of careful manoeuvring, we make it to the next crossing, and this one looks suspiciously difficult.
Well, this is a cool little challenge. Just seems like a pretty shallow creek crossing, but the exit's what we're a little bit apprehensive about. A lot of mulch. Yeah, a lot of mulch, I reckon, and it's probably pretty undercut. So as the front will climb up, the back might dig down. PJ's going to go first and see how he goes. Nice and light with the chains on the back, I reckon.
I reckon he's got it. He's going to make us look silly.
I think so. I think so. I'll call him through. Here he goes. The big 75. Look at her. It's deeper than you think.
Oh,
Just so much mulch.
oh, look at this. Very sloppy. You can hear those chains biting, eh? Go the farm truck.
Mike, this shut window PJ coming.
More to the left, I reckon. You nearly got it. I don't think he's going to say no for an answer. Oh, he's so close!
It's good he's getting rid of some of that mulch.
Yeah. It's going to be mud by the time we get there.
We dig it out for
Oh, yes!
There it is.
Couple of clutch pops will be out of there.
See, like, look at the chains work.
Just keep filling up, right?
Good effort.
That was solid.
That was awesome.
That was very good.
Now I have to winch it then, eh? That last little bit.
This is going to be quite the challenge. Saw how much PJ struggled in that. I think it's all about a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, it's going to be a fair bit of descent involved. Whoa, he's not hanging around. Oh, he's stuck.
And just like that. I didn't mean to come over here.
Well, he's backing in for another go.
This could go wrong. There we go, and we're out.
You guys are about to see the fastest time trial in an Isuzu D-Max in the history of the Daintree. Here he comes.
I want to say PJ and I have done the heavy lifting on this one because the D-Max breezes through.
He's got it, he's got it, he's got it.
Too easy. Nearly a little crash at the end there, but saved it.
That's not too bad at all. I think once PJ got most of that mulch out, he's actually finding a bit of traction now.
Well, that was a solid effort by Jesse. I think I'm going to try to do exactly what he did. Just follow that same line.
Those low down leaf springs aren't helping Az out here, and the 79 is struggling to clear the mud.
One more go, no more goes. That's what they say, don't they, Jesse?
Yeah, one more, no more. Always ends well. Always ends well.
goes well. Let's go, Az.
Here he goes.
Come on. Oh.
Nearly bluffed it. How is the roost?
There we go.
What's the noise of that thing?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Angry, angry Toyota.
Rob's up next, and for a second there, it looked like the IFS trucks had an edge on this one.
Whoa! Was that the tent opening?
Something was flying in the canopy.
You might have to go all the way back and do that again.
Oh, going up, go! Oh! Yeah!
He's got it. Now, I've got a feeling you're going to dial that throttle controller to the max. What's your plan?
Mate, I've got it on Ultimate 9, so I'm going to spike it, the accelerator, get the power on early, and I'm going to flick all my buttons on as usual, and, you know, fingers crossed.
Oh, it's bogged down a bit.
Oh, there's the power when you need it.
Or is he, oh no, I thought he'd backed off too early.
No.
Showing off.
That was
Showing
perfect.
off.
It was the perfect drive. How can a 3 litre Patrol get power from nothing when it's half up a hill to everything, just like that? He's just lucky, mate. He's just got one good drive under his belt, that's all.
The camera boys have got a pretty loaded down vehicle, and unfortunately, they've had a bit of a drama on that crossing.
You've done a beat again.
Once again, it's a difficult spot to fix a tyre, but we've soon come up with a different solution.
Well, it's never good to get a tyre off the rim, but it's actually not a bad situation because we're able to get the tree trunk protector quite high in the tree, choke it around the tree, and actually use the winch to lift the front of this vehicle off the ground. So no need to get a high lift jack out or anything like that. We'll reset this bead, we'll clean it up first, and then we'll just get it straight back on. We might put a bit more air in these ones because we don't want them slipping off too much because it's no good for anyone.
Picking the right tyre pressure isn't just about assessing the track, but also your tyre size, vehicle weight and weight distribution. Hopefully, a few extra PSI in those front tyres will keep the boys out of trouble. It's getting late in the afternoon, and while we're making progress, we're having to fight for every metre. Around every bend is a new challenge, or dense sections of bush. And the track is just getting harder and harder to follow.
Just got out of the vehicles at the moment, just trying to find that track. As you can see, it's pretty overgrown. We want to try and stick to that track as well because that way we can get a few vehicles across it, clear it, and it'll become a road again. He goes down there looking for signs. You're looking for basically, when they make a road, usually they grade it and there'll be mounds of dirt on each side. It's faint, but there is a sign. That's it, Jesse. There you have it, mate. That's how you do that.
Well, PJ reckons actually used to be a track here, but look how high this grass is. You can't even see them down there. So we're tying these ribbons up so when we're in the cars, we can sort of spot them and work out where to zigzag away down to the creek crossing. But this is pretty wild. I'm getting Kimberley flashbacks.
Despite our best efforts, we lose the track over and over again, but with the light getting low, we're just going to have to pull up for the night. We can hear the next creek in the distance, but how we get there is anyone's guess. It might not look like there's anywhere to camp in this long grass, but after a bit of four-wheel drive lawn mowing, we've made ourselves the perfect little clearing, and suddenly we've got one of the finest bush camps you could ever ask for.
Tell you what, this is better than any big four caravan park or any, designated spot to roll a tent. This is just a random spot in the bush that we've driven around a couple of times to flatten down the grass. And it's about as good as it gets. The creek, you can hear it, it's not too far, it's just down there and actually wraps around. We'll be crossing down that way tomorrow again, the same creek, it winds its way through. That's the plan tomorrow, but for now, it's just time to get a beer into a setup camp, maybe do a bit of a cook up. It's just been a big day of road building. Everyone's got involved, which is so cool to see, and the spirits are high because we think we might even be able to get all the way through. At the start of this trip, we thought there's probably no chance. 60 years, no one's travelled down this road, and here we are trying to make our way through, and we're this far through. Cheers to that, eh? What a day, hey? Big day.
Started at PJ's, now we're camping in the bush. How good?
I know. We've done a lot today. We've got a long way. It's actually probably further than I thought we'd get, but we've still got a fair bit to go. We've got to push through probably the hardest bit yet, I reckon. Yeah. Well, I'm going to cook tonight, and I'm going to cook a nice, easy one. I think the boys and girls will need a bit of sustenance, a little bit of spice, because we need to fly up the other side of that hill tomorrow, if you get my drift.
I'll get the toilet paper ready.
Well, what an absolute cracking day it's been. And I don't say that lightly. I think any time you're pushing an old track in or just doing something completely adventurous, that is the real reason I got into four-wheel driving. So I'm going to cook up something really easy. It's been a big day at the tracks, and this is a good one for you guys to cook at home. It's a chili con carne, Shauno style. It's one of those ones where it's a nice cheap feed and it goes a long way. So if you've got a few mouths to feed at camp, this is the perfect one for you guys. So I'm going to jump straight into the Dometic here. And here we go. We are actually doing 3 weeks in Cape York. So all of our meat has been cryovac into portions. So this is tonight's meal, as you can see.
What are you cooking up, mate? There's no JP here around here.
No JPs tonight for dinner, mate. I'll let all those
cooking?
go. It's a chili con carne, super easy. Check this out. So through the chopping board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Who taught you that? Would have been a clever person.
It was Jesse, actually. He thinks outside the box sometimes. A little bit of garlic, we'll get that going. A little bit of paprika, that's probably about a teaspoon. Some cumin, chuck a bit of that.
Fair bit of that.
Some cumin, ground chili.
Here we go, the chili's starting.
Chili con carne obviously needs chili. You can't have a chili con carne without chili. Tabasco, chipotle, pepper sauce. 5 or 6 jiggles of the rest is probably enough of that one. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, I was trying to read that.
Marajam. Once you get the spices actually starting to get under a bit of heat without too much around it, it actually makes the spices infuse in everything else. That's my theory anyway. Now we're going to put the meat in. So I've got 1.5 kilos of mince here. Now normally you do this about 500 grams. If you're just cooking for a family of 4 or something like that.
With a small army here.
Crikey's trying to put the plastic in. We'll give that a nice little stir. As soon as that starts to brown, this is the hard work done. You just pour a few things in, simmer it down, and that'll be one of the best tasting chili con carnes you've ever seen. This is actually my mum's recipe, this one.
Oh, thanks, Mum.
Yeah, exactly right. That's starting to brown off really nicely, mate.
Do you want to mix that? I've got something to do.
You got something to do?
Yeah, we'll be back shortly.
Fair enough, fair enough. This is I tell you what.
I'll be back shortly.
You've learned a few tricks off one of my good mates, Graham Cahill.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to start putting all the yum bits in. Probably 6 tablespoons. That'll be about right. Passata. So you just basically want a tomato puree.
How much is this? The whole bottle?
The whole thing, mate. Now this is a little trick. Get your black bean sauce, chuck it in there. You drain those off. Now the black beans go in. Some diced tomatoes.
The pot is filling up.
This is what you want though. And then we've got the red kidney beans. Now we need a bit of juice. Oh, you'd usually use water, right? And this is why the little trick. So I get the rest of the tomato puree out, and I've used the sauce out of the beans. A little bit of water in here. This is just straight out of Southeast Queensland, mate.
Glenhogan's finest.
Oh, about
that much?
That much. We're going to just let that simmer now. We're going to have a couple of cold ones around the fire. Come back, make some rice. Like I said, get the tortillas. We might even
heat the tortillas up.
We will, mate. We'll do that on the fire, and this is going to be absolutely insane.
It's going to be yum.
Yeah, it'll be really nice. Look at that. Well, it's all happening now. Jesse's got some tortillas on the go, so we're doing those over the fire. This is smelling great, and it's at the perfect consistency. These ones here, big fan of just these rices. They're super easy. This is actually a Mexican style rice, so you really can't go wrong.
I could tell you didn't much faith in me, but look at these, mate.
Oh, they
cooked to perfection.
Let me just taste that real quick.
Bit of cheese.
That is sensational, mate. That is
Smells
great.
good.
They are some of the best tortillas I've ever seen.
Look.
There's one more thing.
We got a bit of cheese for it.
I've got a bit of a full fridge going on. I do, mate.
Oh.
Now, normally you go sour cream, but a bit of tasty cheese will do the trick. Guys, get around. We're on. Extra sloppy, mate.
Just the way I like it.
Now, Rob has actually tried one of my meals before.
No.
And he's gone ham on the old chili con carne.
Yeah,
So
this could be dangerous.
it really could, mate. And one of the best things about this meal is the cleanup is minimal, because your plate, you eat it. That is good. The cheese is starting to melt up real nice. A really quick and simple meal. It doesn't get any better. I suggest you try that one next time you're camping. If you want to impress someone,
warm your tortillas up. Just the little steps make it all a bit better. I reckon we go sit near the fire. Good idea, mate. What do you reckon? Wrap our gear around this one?
Sounds good.
Ooh, that's good.
Righto guys, I hope you're enjoying this awesome episode, and this week we have an epic giveaway from our mates at Raptor. You can go in the draw to win one of 2 prize packs that includes 8 litres of Raptor as well as a couple of aerosol cans. This amount of Raptor is perfect to do the cab of your vehicle, or if you've got a whole bunch of bar work, you need to give a bit of TLC, this is the right amount to do it. So to win, all you got to do is jump in the comments below and tell us about a time where you could have used Raptor on your 4-drive out in the bush. I know for a fact that the poor old ponies had a hard time, but the Raptor has stood up to everything I've thrown at it. So be quick, jump in the comments below and you could be winning one of these 8-litre kits plus a couple of aerosol cans. And remember, turn your notifications on so you don't miss the opportunity if you've won. Be quick, good luck.
From above the tree line, you can clearly see the challenge that still lies ahead of us. The Daintree is known for its lush forests, but when you're trying to navigate through it on a track that isn't on any map, it makes for a nearly impossible task. We might not be sure of the way forward, but in the distance we can hear the sound of the next creek, and I reckon it's high time I got the rod out for a cast. I reckon these waters probably haven't been fished much in the last 60 years, and I'm hoping to catch a few stonking jungle perch.
Really nice,
that is
JP.
good.
That's PBJP.
Yeah.
That is a cracking little JP. That's also my biggest JP I've ever caught, believe it or not. And that was the first cast.
After a pretty successful session by the creek, it's time to see if we can get the 4-wheel drives down there. The Mid-79 is a bit of a veteran of these trips, and despite all that punishment, it just keeps on going strong.
You've had this same canopy for a long time now, right?
Yeah, this is the original first cab off the rank production Evo 2 train canopy.
The same one that's done Northern Territory, it's done the Kimberley, it's done...
The high country, I think this is its 3rd trip up the Cape now.
Wow, so it's done countless tough roads, corrugations, all that sort of jazz.
Yeah,
Have you replaced much or?
Just guards. That's about it, really.
Especially when you're driving, mate.
Yeah.
What about the actual train canopy, like cracks or anything like that?
No, like I said, the original one, all in the name of R&D for this one.
R&D.
So keep it on there as long as we can.
I just love how tough it is, mate, because if you look at the Cruiser doors, they copped an absolute beating, and the fact that this is still in one piece.
There's a couple of gouges out of it, but
yeah, sure, it's
still going strong.
PJ and Jesse have scouted ahead and they reckon they might have found the line forward, but it's not looking easy.
Jesse, how far you reckon from camp, mate?
Oh, 2, maybe 300 metres.
I know, and it's thick again,
Yeah.
and now we've got to start finding the track.
This is sort of where we walked through yesterday and marked it. Now we've got to try and get the cars through. So
Exactly right. If we can get the vehicles down through here, there is actually a spot to cross the creek. We've got to go through that. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of timber down. The chainsaws will be out in full
a heap
swing.
of big rocks moved in the creek too. So
I know,
the crossing will be wild, I reckon.
If this is the sort of terrain we're dealing with, mate,
It's going to be slow going today.
it's going to be very slow going.
The first task, as always, is just to clear a line into the crossing, with years of dead wood and logs to get through. Next, of course, is the crossing itself, and PJ must know something I don't, because he's put me up front today.
You can probably see behind me that massive big rock. That's right where we need to cross. Now, that's probably come down from a big flood or something like that, moved down the creek, and it's blocking the track because the track goes straight up the back there. So what we're going to do is actually use the winch to move that rock across. That's the plan anyway.
With the use of a winch ring to guide it sideways, we're able to shift this massive boulder off the main line, and the way ahead looks clear.
That is amazing. That's a big rock. That rock's now not in the middle of that crossing, it's to the side. We can sort of scoot a vehicle around there now, even put a tyre up on it and then just drive straight through. Seatbelt is off in case it all goes pear-shaped. slow and feel my way across this one. There's some really big rocks.
Where's he going? Downstream? Didn't look too bad, but he's got lots of lift and big tyres.
That is through. Now, where's the track go from here?
Yeah, you can straighten up a little bit now. Yep, that's good. Nice. Up speed, here we go. Oh. Oh, too easy. Well, I think PJ did it with his eyes closed. He's definitely done that before a couple of times.
Very good. Got a car wash, mate.
Yeah. Here comes Az in the big 79.
There he goes. You're feeling better now.
Nice.
Is that rock?
Here we go.
Easy.
Too easy, mate.
Ooh, this way,
Yeah,
this way.
bit of right. Bit of right, they're all right.
That's the ticket.
Very nice. Looks so photogenic over there, that car.
I don't know what you're talking about. Looks like an Nissan to me.
Yeah, it looks good. Some of us didn't get dropped in their head as children, Sean. We have better taste than others.
You poor thing, mate. You'll grow up one day.
Oh, couldn't have been done that any smoother.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All the vehicles are through. Chainsaws are going. We better get into it because the track goes that way through some pretty thick scrub.
Big push.
We'll have the work cut out, I reckon.
8 kilometres of track sounds like nothing on paper, but out here every metre is a hard-fought battle. Over and over again, we're stopped by fallen trees. We lose the track and find new challenges to navigate. It's hard to believe, but we're soon onto our 3rd day on this track, camping where we can and making the most of daylight hours to creep our way forward.
Well, that's the track, I think. Off we go into the jungle. Pretty amazing stuff. Yeah, there's a track here, you wouldn't believe it. Oh, what's that? Yeah, see what's going on at the front there.
There's one right here too, so when you take off, steer that way. Yeah, swing over this way now.
We'll go left again.
drivable, but it's just you got a long.
Oh, it's like a full track down here.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable after all these years, you can still see evidence of an old track. Oh.
So many of the challenges we've faced over the last few days would be enough to see a lot of people give up and turn around. But we're determined to see this track through, whatever it takes. This is just one of those trips where having the right gear makes such a difference, and honestly, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. In places like this, staking a tyre is a real possibility, and Sooty is unfortunately the first victim.
Just coming through that last crossing there, and I think a stick's got out and punctured my sidewall, which is a bit of a pain. I heard air coming out and I stopped pretty quickly, so don't think it's a huge sidewall cut. I haven't found it yet, mind you, but hopefully I'll be able to repair it. So I'm gonna get some air into it and then just find out exactly where it's leaking, where the hole is, and I might try and plug it. If not, of course, I've got a spare.
I've tried to patch this one without taking the tyre off, but it's a no-go.
That didn't quite work out. Too many plugs, too big a sidewall cut. Oh well. I think if we mucked around at camp, we could get it going as a spare, but I might just change that tyre. Well, there you go. Bit of bad luck, but I was sort of expecting it, half expecting it anyway. These tyres have done about 3-4 years. They've done a Kimberley trip on the Dirty 30, and of course they've done a couple of Cape trips now and a whole stack of other tough tracks in between. But the hardest thing with these tyres is supply. You actually can't get them anymore because otherwise I would have changed them. There's not much tread left on all these tyres. I've actually got plugs in a couple of them now, so they are on their last legs. We should be able to just limp out anyway, and hopefully we don't do any more sidewalls because that'll be a showstopper.
After a few hours of carefully line picking, we're up on the crossing that PJ reckons might be our last before the track opens up.
Oh, he's down,
Well, it's a bit of a valley sort of straddle to get out of here, but there's a lot of mulch that's sort of been collected on the banks of this creek. So as soon as you come out, you're probably going to bog down. You need a bit of momentum to get up here. So we'll send Soot through, have a look how it goes. Worst case scenario, go for a winch. And as soon as you get a vehicle, you might get rid of some of that mulch and actually make a bit of a track here.
Now the big send up the hill.
Yeah.
Oh, he's showing off, he's showing off. He's showing off.
Soot made this one look pretty tame, but PJ isn't so lucky.
Who's going?
You need that diff lock, PJ.
Diff lock? Let's put the chains on.
Go back a little bit.
We'll shovel her out for you.
Yeah, cool.
Get the road crew in action, boys. Let's go. Oh, I've lost the shovel too.
Go, boys. This is the life.
Well, combination of bigger tyres and lockers made it pretty easy in Soot, but poor PJ, 31s and unlocked. Almost did it, but we're just taking the edge off, covering up the holes, making it more of a track anyway. So, should be able to get up this one hopefully.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, he's... Oh, a little wheel there.
Jesse and the D-Max take this one with ease, but the boys behind are soon struggling.
Whoa, he's coming over here. Oh, she's dripping, she's showing off. Roll it, don't stall it, Ad.
That's it.
He's chewing out the bottom. What are you doing, Az?
Go back down the bottom, turn the engine off, just have a good think about what's going on.
Right, yeah. Let's have a real go.
Oh yeah, stand back, I reckon. Yeah, he's got it. Stay on it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
There you go, and that's how that's done.
Oh, you just got to have a real go sometimes.
Here comes Rev and Rob.
Rev and Rob. Oh, good drive.
Oh,
good drive.
wheel stand.
Hang on it. Go.
Oh. Yeah, he stalled that up. Stay into it.
He's got it.
Woohoo! Rooster tail Rob. We got peppered, but he got up the hill. How good.
To think that this hasn't been driven in 60 years and then to be coming up here in like modern vehicles, it is pretty incredible. Quite incredible really, like it's unbelievable.
Pete's used his usual technique of remaining cool, calm and collected, and the GU just motors on up.
Well, it's actually looking like a track again.
It is. We did well.
At the start when I first looked at it, I didn't even know which way I was going to go up here.
Yeah.
But now you get a couple of vehicles on here, a little bit of digging, and this track is very open. How good's that?
With that crossing conquered, the end is finally in sight, and ahead of us, the trees are actually thinning out. And even better, on our maps, it looks like we're getting closer to the established track we've been trying to meet up with. And sure enough, out in front of us, we catch a glimpse of what might as well be a highway. How good's that? Back on the main road. It feels so weird to come out on a graded dirt road is like being in the inner city on a freeway or something. It just feels so foreign. Oh, what a trip. What a trip.
Oh, that was epic, mate. Couple of days in the bush, opening up an old track. I had a ball.
Yeah, there's nothing like that sense of satisfaction, mate, when you actually get through the track you plan to. There's been so many times, mate, you've tried to do something like this and the track's kicked your butt. But this time around, we got through. It's such a good feeling to not only have made it through, but have also helped my mate reopen a track that'll help him in years to come. We couldn't have been more stoked for this opportunity, and PJ, well, he looks pretty chuffed as well.
Well, this marks the end of the road, mate.
Yep, no, that's it. Back on the main one.
Back onto the main road. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know if we we're going to make that through. I mean, it was pretty overgrown.
Hope you all enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, sure did.
Didn't work you too hard.
You did all the work. We didn't do much, to be honest.
Exactly, mate. We just followed along. You've got to get back now. We're going to continue north. I've got one actual stopover that you boys might enjoy as well. So,
What's this?
well, PJ, I want to say
stop over.
a massive thank you, mate.
No worries.
We couldn't have done that without you, mate. That's
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers, mate. That was unreal. Good to meet you.
so good.
After saying goodbye to the guys, it's time to make good on a promise I made to the boys before we left, to shout them around at one of Cape York's finest pubs. That's right, our routers brought us all the way to the Lion's Den Hotel. And I reckon a few cold ones are exactly what's called for.
Oh, you're right in my ear. Oh, I haven't been touched like that for a while.
Right, cheers, boys.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Good on you.
Awesome couple of days in a very underrated part of the Cape, I reckon.
I know. It seems like a lifetime ago. We're going up PJ's driveway.
Yeah,
It's pretty full on.
Yeah, how full on was that? One of the toughest trips you'll
Getting
ever
down
do.
was even full on for some people.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But then think about what we achieved, guys. We opened up an old stockery that hadn't been driven in 60 years. I mean, I know PJ's been trying to do that for quite some time.
I think he was pretty chuffed with the outcome.
The fact that we could even find it was nothing short of a miracle, but the fact we could get through and finish the trip and end up here, I mean, that'll do me. Well, boys, I reckon we wrap our laughing gear around here. We can camp down the back. It's going to be one heck of a night. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers.
If you've enjoyed the journey so far, just wait until you see what's coming up next.
No one has driven this. This is the worst I've ever seen it too, mind you.
We've barely scratched the surface on this trip, and as we head north, the conditions just get more and more insane.
This is what we're dealing with here.
I am down and out for the count.
Whether we can make it up to the tip is a total unknown at this stage, but we're going to have a lot of fun trying.
Wow, we're off the track!
That's a vertical D-Max.
Don't miss out on the next epic instalment of our Cape adventure, coming soon to YouTube.